भगवत्य उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Canto 1 titled The Creation, chapter number 5, Narada's instructions on Srimad Bhagavatam, verse number 22. Idam hi pumsas tapasah shrutasya va svishtasya suktasya cha buddhi dattayoho avichyuto artha kavibhir nirupito yaduttama shloka gunanuvarnanam idam hi pumsas tapasah shrutasya va svishtasya suktasya cha buddhi dattayoho avichyuto artha kavibhir nirupito yaduttama shloka gunanuvarnanam idam hi pumsas tapasah shrutasya va svishtasya suktasya cha buddhi dattayoho avichyuto artha kavibhir nirupito yaduttama shloka gunanuvarnanam. Idam hi pumsas tapasah shrutasya va svishtasya suktasya cha buddhi dattayoho avichyuto artha kavibhir nirupito yaduttama shloka gunanuvarnanam. Word to word. Idam, this, he, certainly, pumsaha, of everyone, tapasaha, by dint of austerities, shrutasya, by dint of study of the Vedas, va, or swishtasya, sacrifice, suktasya, spiritual education, cha, and buddhi, culture of knowledge, dattayoho, charity, avichyutaha, infallible, arthaha, interest, kavibhihi, by the recognized learned person, nirupitaha, concluded, yat, what, uttama shloka, the Lord who is described by choice poetry, gunanuvarnanam, description of the transcendental qualities of. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Learned circles have positively concluded that the infallible purpose of the advancement of knowledge, namely austerities, study of the Vedas, sacrifice, chanting of hymns, and charity, culminates in transcendental description of the Lord who is defined in choice poetry. Purport. Human intellect is developed for advancement of learning in art, science, philosophy, physics, chemistry, psychology, economics, politics, etc. By culture of such knowledge, the human society can attain perfection of life. This perfection of life culminates in realization of the Supreme Being, Vishnu. The Shruti therefore directs that those who are actually advanced in learning should aspire for the service of Lord Vishnu. Unfortunately, persons who are enamored by the external beauty of Vishnu Maya do not understand the culmination of perfection of self-realization. Do not understand that culmination of perfection of self-realization depends on Vishnu. Vishnu Maya means sense enjoyment which is transient and miserable. Those who are entrapped by Vishnu Maya utilize advancement of knowledge for sense enjoyment. Sri Narad Muni has explained that all paraphernalia of the cosmic universe is but an emanation from the Lord out of his different energies, because the Lord has set in motion by his inconceivable energy the actions and reactions of the created manifestation. They have come to be out of his energy. They rest on his energy, and after annihilation they merge into him. Nothing is therefore different from him. But at the same time, the Lord is always different from them. When advancement in knowledge is applied in the service of the Lord, the whole process becomes absolute. The personality of Godhead and his transcendental name, fame, glory, etc. are all non-different from him. Therefore, all the sages and devotees of the Lord have recommended that the subject matter of art, science, philosophy, physics, chemistry, psychology, and all other branches of knowledge should be wholly and solely applied in the service of the Lord. Art, literature, poetry, painting, etc. may be used in glorifying the Lord. The fiction writers, poets, and the celebrated literateurs are generally engaged in writing of sensuous subjects. But if they turn towards the service of the Lord, they can describe the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. Valmiki was a great poet, and similarly Vyasadeva is a great writer, and both of them have absolutely engaged themselves in delineating the transcendental activities of the Lord, and by doing so have become immortal. Similarly, the science and philosophy also should be applied in the service of the Lord. There is no use presenting dry speculative theories for sense gratification. Philosophy and science should be engaged to establish the glory of the Lord. Advanced people are eager to understand the absolute truth through the medium of science, and therefore a great scientist should endeavor to prove the existence of the Lord on a scientific basis. Similarly, philosophical speculations should be utilized to establish the supreme truth as sentient and all-powerful. Similarly, all other branches of knowledge should always be engaged in the service of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, also the same is affirmed. All knowledge not engaged in the service of the Lord is but nescience. Real utilization of advanced knowledge is to establish the glories of the Lord, and that is the real import. Scientific knowledge engaged in the service of the Lord and all similar activities are all factually Hari Kirtana, or glorification of the Lord. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padikamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine. Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurtushe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangam langhayate girim yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Translation once again. Learned circles have positively concluded that the infallible purpose of the advancement of knowledge, namely austerities, study of the Vedas, sacrifice, chanting of hymns, and charity, culminates in the transcendental descriptions of the Lord, who is defined in choice poetry. So I'm very happy to be here today, addressing all the wonderful youth devotees. This verse is also so nice. By the way, my name is Acyuta Arjunsakha. I used to earlier stay in ACS layout only, but due to some service engagements, I have shifted to the temple land. But I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very thankful that I got this opportunity to discuss this wonderful verse. I was just thinking, what could be the theme of this verse? The theme could be the glories of devotional service only. If you just see there's some previous few verses, what is the flow here? Basically, we all know that Srila Vyasadeva is not satisfied. He didn't get his job satisfaction. He did a very nice job of writing the Vedas, Puranas, Upanishads, not satisfied. So Narad Muni comes there and he hits the note straight away. That, are you not satisfied? So Vyasadeva, being a sincere disciple, he says, yes, I'm not satisfied. But I'm not able to detect why I'm not being satisfied. So can you help me? So then Narad Muni does the diagnosis immediately. He was already ready to diagnose, but then he takes the opportunity formally. So he finds two defects in the work or the job of Vyasadeva due to which he was dissatisfied. So if you see, the verse number 8 of this chapter tells the first defect. You have not actually broadcast the sublime and the spotless glories of Krishna. That philosophy which does not satisfy the transcendental service of the senses of the Lord is considered worthless. That means the first fault is insufficient broadcasting of the glories of the Lord. First defect. Second defect, next verse. Although great sage, you have broadly described the 4 principles. Beginning with religious performances, you have not described sufficiently the glories of Krishna Vasudeva. The second defect is too much emphasis on the 4 purusharthas, dharma, artha, kama and moksha, but not on bhakti. So these were the 2 defects. And because of these 2 faults, because of not having sufficiently broadcast the glories the name, fame, qualities and pastimes of Krishna, and on the contrary, doing the opposite. You know, people are already ready to do sense gratification, and in the name of writing these scriptures, legally encouraging people to do more sense gratification, that crime has been done actually. In fact, if you read the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, Srila Vyasadeva should have not written all these literatures. Like that, Prabhupada writes. So there again, the chastisement comes that you have given too much emphasis on the 4 Purusharthas. And what is the result of this 4 Purushartha? By following this 4 Purushartha, of course, one may remain away from the bracket of sinful life. But again, Punarapi Janamam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani, Jathare Shayanam. That whole circle will continue going on. The ultimate purpose of life is not achieved, so therefore it's a waste of time. So these are the 2 defects which are pointed out by Narad Muni for Vyasadeva. And then he further goes on to tell Vyasadeva that there are 2 kinds of literatures. What are the 2 kinds of literatures? Who can tell me? Sorry? Crow literature and swan literature. Very good. Vayasam Tirtham. So, mundane literature, transcendental literature. So that literature which does not describe the Supreme Lord is called crow literature. It is, people who are like crows, they get attracted to it. Why the word crow has been used here? Any guess? Very good. Crow is attracted to the garbage only. So what you can try to do today, put up a chair on the terrace today and sit near the dustbin. And you will see that one crow will come, it will go inside the dustbin, search something, find some dead rat or some garbage and then fly away. Then the next crow will come thinking this crow was idiot, could not find properly. So it will go further inside. Kak cheshta. Kak cheshta is a term in the Vedic literature. When somebody has a very strong urge to find something, that is called kaka cheshta. A pure devotee has a very strong urge to achieve the lotus feet of Krishna, kaka cheshta. But that kaka cheshta, if used in the wrong place, then it becomes very hazardous also. So a crow is always very hell-bent. Always hell-bent to do some treasure hunt. So people who are having that mentality, they get attracted to garbage literature. Garbage literature means Harry Potter, Sherlock Holmes, all this literature which is being pushed by some mundane authors in the name of Ramayana and Mahabharata. They are writing all nonsense things. That is garbage. And then second kind of literature is transcendental literature. For transcendental literature, Narad Muni says, even if it is imperfectly composed, chalega, no problem. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Gaya, when he was meeting with his spiritual master, who was the spiritual master of? Very good, Ishwar Puri. So Ishwar Puri told him that you are Nimai Pandit. I have just made some composition, can you just examine it? So Nimai Pandit Mahaprabhu, he knew this verse, Tadvad Visargo Janataga Viplavo Yasmin Pratishlokam Avadyavatyapi. So he said, no, this is a literature glorifying the Supreme Lord. How can we find mistakes in it? No mistakes. The spiritual master told, no, you have to. Please read. Give me some comments. Review comments. So he said, okay. And just because the spiritual master had ordered, so he just read through it. And then he said, maybe this can be changed. Maybe this one thing can be edited. So Sri Ishwar Puri told him, no, you didn't understand properly. This is what I meant. And then he said, yes, what you're saying is right. So even Nimai Pandit, who had this very strong desire to express the mood of scholarship in those scholarship pastimes, even he reserved himself from commenting on transcendental literature or literature which is exclusively glorifying the name, fame, qualities and pastimes of the Lord. So these are the 2 kinds of literatures. So basically by making these 2 statements, Narad Muni is telling, what kind of literature have you produced, my dear Vyasadeva? Did you produce a literature which is Shinvanti, Gayanti, Grananti, Sadhava? That kind of literature have you produced? Vyasadeva is thinking in his mind, no, I have not produced. So therefore, he starts giving some instructions to Vyasadeva. I'm just coming to today's verse. He says, even if one falls down in bhakti, then that is not a problem. On the other hand, perfection in one's duties without Krishna consciousness is completely useless. Later on, he says, please expand the supremacy of the Lord because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why? Because you, being Vyasadeva, are specially potent, being a special empowered personality, you can very clearly see the pastimes of the Lord. So it is your duty. With great power comes great responsibility. That kind of technique. So as Vyasadeva, being the empowered plenary portion, you should know and you should glorify the Lord more vividly. And then ultimately, verse number 22, he says, the infallible purpose of advancement of knowledge culminates in the transcendental descriptions of the Lord. So this is the background of today's verse. First he scolded, then he said, see what you have done, transcendental literature, material literature. And then he said, bhakti is an eternal credit. Even if someone falls down, taktva sadharmam charanam bhajam bharet. Even if somebody falls down, it is good. But encourage them to do bhakti, not a problem. But you are encouraging them in 4 purusharthas. So this is a waste of time. What they will get? Are these 4 purusharthas eternal credit? No. So therefore, you being the empowered plenary incarnation of Krishna, you should vividly describe. Why? Because whatever knowledge you have, whatever potencies you have, it is coming from Krishna. So you should use it in Krishna's service. Basically, whatever perfection we get, what are the things which are mentioned in today's verse? What kinds of perfections are mentioned? Perfections coming through austerities, perfections coming through advancement of knowledge, perfections coming from the study of Vedas, perfections coming from sacrifice, perfections coming from chanting, and perfections coming from charity. So all these perfections basically the cause of these perfections or how these perfections develop. For example, somebody is very austere. Durvasa Muni was so austere. He used to drink, he had a grass diet. He used to drink the juice of Durva grass only. So because of that, he had a lot of potency, spiritual as well as material. So how he got that perfection, how he got the siddhi of that potency, it is through bhakti. Similarly, whatever charity you do, without the touch of bhakti, the charity will not become potent. For example, there is one person called Adani. He has done some charity. What charity he has done? He has sponsored some prasadam, not prasadam, he sponsored some food for Mahakumbh, but he got in touch with ISKCON. ISKCON is the touch of bhakti in his charity. So therefore, his charity has now become potent. Do you understand? So his charity became potent. Similarly, someone's study of Vedas will become potent only by the touch of bhakti. So, what we should do, because I am getting perfection in knowledge by the touch of bhakti, my austerities are becoming siddha by the touch of bhakti, my chanting is becoming siddha in touch of bhakti. So what should I do? Should I not use all this, my knowledge, my austerity, my study of Vedas, my chanting, my sacrifices, should I not use it back in the Lord's service? Does it make sense? Are you able to understand this perspective? I have got this kartal from Krishna, I have got this laptop from Krishna, I got this book from Krishna, I got this body from Krishna. So what is common sense? To use it back in the Lord's service. That is what is the essence of today's verse. Because we all know any form of yoga we practice or any form of activity which we do, the perfection comes only by the touch of bhakti. especially these sections. So therefore, the culmination of all this is to go back in bhakti and use it in the, for example, by the mercy of Krishna, I learnt the art of good photography. So what is the culmination of this photography? It should ultimately go to Krishna's service. That is perfection. Similarly, I got this art of being able to write very nicely. From whom? From Krishna. So what is the perfection or the ultimate success of my writing skills? To be used in Krishna's service. So this is the essence of today's verse. That's why these learned circles, they have positively concluded that what is that infallible purpose? Infallible purpose means to serve the infallible Supreme Personality of Godhead through knowledge, austerity, study of Vedas, chanting of hymns. And everything should be Uttama Shloka Gunanuvarnanam. Means my charity, my chanting, my sacrifice, my study, my tapasya, and my knowledge should ultimately result in Uttama Shloka Gunanuvarnanam. They should ultimately result in glorification of the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, Shrama eva hi kevalam. It's no point. This reminds me of another verse from Bhagavad Gita. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto mattah smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Vedaishcha sarvair aham eva vedyo. Vedant krit vedavid eva cha aham. So, Vedaishcha sarvair aham eva vedyo. This is also, this verse 15.15 is also extrapolation of this verse only. Veda means knowledge and all branches of knowledge. Prabhupada is telling in the purport, physics, chemistry, psychology, economics, politics, and all other branches. So all these branches, they come from where? They come from Vedas. And what is the goal of the Vedas? Vedaishcha sarvair aham eva vedyo. That means by your physics, by your chemistry, by your philosophy. Imagine if you would have told it to our school teachers. Philosophy, physics, chemistry, psychology, economics, and politics. All this should ultimately reach to Krishna. If I am a lawyer, and if my law is not ultimately making me, my practice of law, if it is not ultimately making me a devotee of Krishna, then Shrama eva hi kevalam. Similarly, if I am a physics teacher, if my knowledge of physics is not ultimately encouraging me in pure devotional service to Lord Krishna, then it is prayas only. It is just unnecessary endeavor. So this is the essence. And those who don't do this, what are they called? They are said to be, why my laptop is getting locked every now and then. Yeah. Those who do not do this, those who do not use their achievements or knowledge or siddhis back in the service of the Lord, they are called to be entrapped by Vishnu Maya. What they do, those who are entrapped by Vishnu Maya, they utilize the advancement of knowledge for sense enjoyment. Can you give me an example where advancement of knowledge is being used for sense enjoyment? There are many examples. Tell me the first thing which is coming in your mind. Very good. Advancement of knowledge, it is being used for sense enjoyment. Yes, people are playing games, people are watching movies. Any other advancement of knowledge being used for sense enjoyment? Or advancement not of just knowledge, advancement in anything which is being used for sense enjoyment. Advancement of medicine being used for sense enjoyment. Yes, yes, definitely. Definitely it is being used. Hey, don't say prasadam here. Advancement in prasadam क्या होता है? Prasadam is prasadam. Education? Yes, advancement in education is leading to sense enjoyment. Yes, it is leading to Udar Bharan Vidya only. You go to any school or college and you ask them why you are studying. पेट का सवाल है. Udar Bharan Vidya. So I am just studying so that one day I may be able to earn money and do more sense gratification. They are working so hard, they are studying so hard, studying so hard, studying so hard, just so that they can earn more money, so that they can earn more money, so that they can earn more money, so that they can do more sense gratification, so that they can do more sense gratification, so that they can do more sense gratification. You catch any hard-working student in any college or university or school these days, and you tell them, my dear, such and such. No matter how much you study and no matter how much hard you work, you'll not get two things, honey and money. Then you see whether they will study or whether they will work hard. What do you think?
Never.
If we would have told you that you will not get honey and you will not get money, would you have gone to that slaughterhouse, school or university? Engineering, 40 subjects, 4 years. Would you have done that? There is no motivation to do. So therefore, it's just for sense enjoyment. So therefore, Vishnu Maya. And Prabhupada is saying, Vishnu Maya, what is the problem with Vishnu Maya? He says two things, miserable and, I'm not able to find it, transient and miserable. The result of being engaged in Vishnu Maya is transient. That means it's not eternal, not long lasting. Yehi samparshajab hoga dukkha yonaya evate adya antavant kauntaya nateshu ramate buddha. Those who are intelligent, they want a happiness which is never ending. If there is a beginning to my happiness and if there is an end to my happiness, which is rising out of sense perceptions, samparshajab hoga, then those who are intelligent, they will not take part in it. So see, the problem is that most of us are not intelligent. So how to become intelligent? By reading the Shastra. We have to do shasan on our mind through the Shastra. Use the Shastra to shasan your mind and make it understand that you should not find sense enjoyment in these places. You should find sense enjoyment only in the holy name and Srimad Bhagavatam. And there is no other place where you should find happiness. Otherwise, if you are able to find happiness, that is Vishnu Maya, transient, and the result will be dukkha yonaya evate. The result will be very miserable. Very, very miserable. Whatever so-called happiness which we are experiencing by this mobile or by this educational system or other things which we said, this will become the root cause of our unhappiness in future. We can just see all the things which we have around us. And at one point of time, we all felt that car is a wonderful invention. But now that only has become, especially for Bangalore people, they will say with bhava that this car is one of the most biggest tragic mistakes which we made, human society. So yes, so what should be done? Whatever we have, whether it is a branch of knowledge, or whether it is some austerity, or whether it is some charity, Prabhupada says wholly and solely. Wholly means not 99% for my personal and 1% for Krishna, not like that. Wholly means 100% it should be used for Krishna, and solely, exclusively for Krishna. Completely and solely. That should be all branches of knowledge and all austerities and everything, siddhis, should be wholly and solely applied in the service of the Lord. Anything, whether it is art, whether it is literature, whether it is poetry, whether it is painting, should be used for glorifying the Lord. Otherwise, Vishnu Maya. So basically, to establish the glories of the Lord by using our advanced situation is the import of this verse. If you find yourself advanced in any field of activity, it could be anything. It could be some material thing, or it could be some subtle thing, or metaphysical aspects. In whichever way you find yourself a little advanced, immediately you should understand, I have got this advancement to glorify the Lord. Now you should start scratching our brain, how I can glorify the Lord using this. Somebody has a very nice voice, so how I can glorify the Lord using this voice. Somebody has very nice money or very nice house, so how I can glorify the Lord using all these assets which we have. So that is the essence of today's discussion. Now, there is another way or another aspect which this verse can be looked upon from. Because this verse has been referred to, this same verse has been referred to in the 11th canto also. So there, the same thing is being told in a different angle. There, that is the Uddhav Gita section, it is being told that the results of austerity and other acts are achieved by bhakti easily. So what is the necessity of doing all this advancement of knowledge, austerity, study of Vedas, sacrifice, chanting hymns, whatever you want? See, when you're trying to advance in knowledge, you want something, right? That's why you're trying to advance. When you're doing some austerity, you want something. When you're doing study of Vedas, you want something. That's why you're studying. When you're doing sacrifice, charity, there is a desire. Because of that desire, you are engaging in this activity. So the verse says, everything that can be achieved by karma, austerities, jnana, vairagya, mystic yoga, charity, dharma and Vedic study is easily achieved by my devotee only through bhakti. If somehow or the other my devotee desires swarga, liberation, residence in my abode, he easily achieves such benedictions even without asking. So another aspect of this could be, or another, Srila Prabhupada says, please scrutinizingly read my books from various angles. So another angle in which we can see this verse would be that what is the need to do this austerity, study of Vedas, sacrifice, charity, when I can just achieve all perfection through bhakti. So just chant Hare Krishna. Akama sarva kamo va, moksha kamo udaradihi, tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Whatever you want, be intelligent like Dhruv Maharaj. Whether you don't want anything, or whether you want everything like Dhruv Maharaj, or whether you want liberation, just approach Krishna. How to approach Krishna? Tivrena bhakti yogena. Whatever sadhana you are doing, just intensify it. For example, you want to build a temple. What you should do? Just sit down, attentively chant your 16 rounds and significantly go on distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. Everything will manifest. Intensify. Whatever you are doing, just intensify that. Simply by attentively chanting 16 rounds, everything will manifest. Whatever spiritual desires we have, it will manifest. One should have no doubt that I don't have the potency. One should have no doubt कि हमसे नहीं होगा. One should have no doubt that I'm not qualified enough. One should have no doubt that I'm a big aparadhi. Simply by patiently chanting 16 rounds attentively and by engaging intensified way in the angas of bhakti, Navavidha bhakti, everything will manifest. Everything. So, there is no need to do anything extra. For example, if somebody wants to go to Swarga, what they need to do? Let's test some preparedness for going to Swarga. If you have to go to Swarga, what you should do to enter Swarga? Yes, some pious activities. But is that enough? So is that sufficient? Yes, some detachment is also needed. Swarga is a place for little detached people also. So according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, a devotee having given up independent cultivation of knowledge, by expert fruitive activities, like pious activities, you people said. So expert fruitive activities, that means whatever fruitive activities which we are doing, we need to be expert at it, very good at it. We need to be the best at it. So that requires some sadhana. And by cultivation of detachment, one achieves Swarga. So Swarga, the way it is, very much pessimistic baatein hoti hain, it's not so easy to go there also. People who are extremely lusty, angry or greedy, they cannot enter Swarga. Swarga is a place where Indra is staying. And in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am Indra. He's one of the vibhutis. So to go to Swarga, you need to do some expert fruitive activities. You need to cultivate some detachment. You need to come up from the platform of bodily distress. You need to understand that I am not the body but the spirit soul. You need to understand that I should do tapasya in this life so that next life I have to go to Swarga. You need to lead a dharmic life. So many things needs to be done, right? But all these things can be simply achieved by inattentively chanting Hare Krishna. You got my point. So that's what Krishna is saying. That whatever my devotee wants, he gets very easily. Inattentive chanting is very difficult. No, you just do it, you will end up in Swarga. So what is the need to do expert fruitive activities, coming above the bodily distress platform, cultivation of detachment? Kitna time लगता है वो सब करने में? Just reduce your number of rounds, you'll end up in Swarga. So that is the point which Uddhav Gita highlights, that what is the need of doing all this jnana, vairagya, mystic yoga, charity, dharma, when everything is so easily achieved by my devotee through bhakti. In the 6th canto of Bhagavatam, there is a personality called Chitraketu. How many of you know about Chitraketu? Very good. So he desired promotion to heavenly planets. Why? Because the society of heavenly planet was becoming very materialistic. So he wanted to go and glorify the name, fame, qualities and pastimes of the Lord. So did he do all this? Expert fruitive activities or cultivation of detachment, rising above the bodily distress. Did he do all that? No. He just continued chanting Hare Krishna and he ended up in Swarga. And he ended up with his whole team. And he was beautifully glorifying the Supreme Lord. Similarly, we all know that pastime where Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is walking with his disciples. He looks at the moon and he says, we have to go to the moon. Because the people at the moon have become very materialistic. So there is a sadhana for going to the moon. But did Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada do it? No. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna, a devotee can achieve whatever he wants. Shukdev Goswami. What did Shukdev Goswami want? He did not want to come out of the womb of his mother. Why? Yes, he does not want to be affected by the illusion of Vishnu Maya. He does not want to be affected by Vishnu Maya. Now, how much circus you have to do to avoid Vishnu Maya? But did he do anything? No, he just continued studying Bhagavatam. He just continued chanting Hare Krishna. He just continued to stay in the association of his father and later on Maharaj Parikshit, and then he could easily overcome. So that is what it is told in the purport of that verse. Shukdev Goswami, the great narrator of Srimad Bhagavatam, desiring to avoid entanglement in the illusory potency of the Lord, would not come out of his mother's womb. In other words, Shukdev Goswami desired apavargam or liberation from Vishnu Maya, so that his devotional service would not be disturbed. Lord Krishna personally sent the illusory energy far away so that Shukdev Goswami would come out of his mother's womb. Because of intense loving desire to serve the lotus feet of the Lord, a devotee can achieve anything he wants even without trying. So that is the essence. This is another angle from which you can look at this verse basically. So again, the culmination is this only. That everything we have got by the mercy of Krishna, and everything has to be used in the service of Krishna. This is one understanding. The next understanding is akama sarva kamo va moksha kamo dhariti. Why to want anything? ठीक है, I have some desires. Okay, even if I have some desires, why to do anything for those desires? Just chant Hare Krishna and intensify your devotional service. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. This is the way. First step is to have common sense. Everything which I have comes from Krishna, so everything has to be used back in Krishna's service. Next step is, I am aspiring to reach the Anyabhilashita Shunyam platform, but however, due to samskaras, I am not able to reach. So why to undergo the heavy process of austerities, jnana, karma, vairagya, charity and other things? I will simply come at the Anyabhilashita Shunyam platform Simply by intensifying my devotional service, by intensely chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. So that is the essence of today's discussion. Any questions, comments, reflections? Should I summarize it again so that you can get... Yes?
Like in Bhakti, we need to do austerity and learning knowledge. But in the verse, it said that no need of learning anything and doing austerity. But if we see like in Bhakti, so much austerity and...
What austerity?
If you want to chant also, that is considered as austerity. And learning the books, like studying the literature.
In the Kumbh Mela, there is one sage who has come. Before doing Ganga Snan, he is doing Agni Snan. He is sleeping on fire, and the fire is burning all his clothes. And he is raising the internal temperature in the fire within his body. He is raising that fire to a temperature so that it is getting united with the fire which is outside, because of which he is not burning. Compare that to our japa. What we are doing? Just to have Ganga Snan, see, we do not understand, Prabhu. Let's try to make things easy, but let's not try to make them easier. We have got the easiest process. Susukham kartum avyayam, Rajvidya Rajguhyam, Pavitram idam uttamam, Pratyakshvagamam dharmam, Susukham kartum avyayam. Lord Krishna has told that this process of chanting and this process of fasting on Ekadashi is Susukham. Now don't try to make it Susukham. That will lead us to hell again. See, one of the reasons why sometimes we are not able to appreciate our Susukham position is because we do not realize how much others are struggling. Why that sage is doing Agni Snan every day before doing Ganga Snan? Because he is on the verge of collapsing at some point of time. All his sadhana is not fructifying. His sense control aspects are cheating him. So just to keep himself focused, he is doing Agni Snan every day. What do we do to keep ourselves focused? So it is not austerity. Austerity is happening only when there is a satsang. When we are doing a satsang in such a way that our heart has become wicked. When we are eating food which is not cooked by devotees, this is very serious. When we are eating food which is not cooked by devotees, and when we are watching Netflix, and when we are watching movies and cricket match, then bhakti will become austerity. Vishayir ann khaile dusht hoil. For a dusht man, bhakti is difficult. Then that dusht man has to do Agni Snan and so many other things. But if simply one can follow these simple principles, avoid eating food which is not cooked by devotees, and avoid the asatsang of movies and cricket matches, remain in the association of devotees, then it will be susukham. This is very susukham. See, anybody who is spiritually awake is always awake in the Brahma Muhurta. Now, if that also you don't want to do, that Brahma Muhurta also I'll not wake up because it is austerity, then there is no hope. Then we are not on the human platform only. Even the dogs and these hens, they wake up in Brahma Muhurta. So that is not austerity. That is human life, human standard of life. In fact, things appear to be austere when while practicing any austerity, we do not remember Krishna. However, if you remember Krishna, then the greatest austerities will become the greatest bliss of your life. Look at Madhavendra Puri. He was ordered that get me chandan from such a far place. Anand badhila mane dukh na ganila. He was carrying in so much heat, he was carrying Chandan, old man, spiritual master, he's carrying, but he was not feeling bad. That is real austerity actually. But he was not feeling bad because he was doing it for Krishna. So Ananda badhila mane dukh na ganila. So for a sadhaka, this is the difference between a sadhaka and a pure devotee. A sadhaka tends to forget why they are doing what they are doing. Then it becomes austerity. But if we can always remember that we are doing it for Krishna, and we can remember characters like Vasudev, characters like Madhavendra Puri, characters like Pandavas, how much they have gone through just to please Krishna, giving a very strong message that pleasure of Krishna, millions and billions of lifetimes of crying and misery and ocean of tears is insignificant in front of one smile of Krishna. So we have to live for that smile. So then it is no longer austerity. Then it's all happiness all the time. Then it is Vraja Bhumi. Does it answer your question? Thank you. Any other questions, comments, reflections? What time do we have to end? Half an hour is there? I thought 1 hour class. I can extend, no problem. But first time I'm ending on time. Yes, any other questions, comments, reflections? Yes, please.
Here it is mentioned Vishnu Maya. So what is the difference between Maya and Vishnu Maya? Is there any difference?
No. Maya is the energy of Krishna. And when we say Vishnu Maya, it is a more clear way of saying it is Vishnu Maya. It is not coming from anywhere else. So, more better way of speaking is Vishnu Maya. There is no other place where else from where else Maya comes from. It has to be Vishnu Maya. Okay, please share one point which you would like to implement, or which you have appreciated, or which you think will help us to become more intensified in our practice of Krishna consciousness based on today's verse and discussion.
One question. Like you are mentioning, like someone wants to build temple and they can do chanting. But to build temple, they need some fund also. For that, they may have to work outside in the organization.
Lakshmi comes where there is spiritual potency. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dharmadhara, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Wherever there is Krishna, the supreme mystic, and wherever there is the devotee Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will be extraordinary power, morality, opulence, and victory. Opulence means wealth. So if you carefully see the use case of ISKCON, it is very clear that Lakshmi has come simply because of the spiritual potency of the devotees. Otherwise, how is it possible that simply by distributing some books, one can get so much money that one can have 800 centers all over the world? How is it possible that simply by distributing books, one is able to feed prasadam to 60 lakh people in Mahakumbh in the 30 days time? I mean, who made plans to do all this? It is Krishna who is providing. And simply if we become faithful and serious, of course some endeavor has to be done, but that is not our prime course of action. Our prime course of action is not fundraising. Our fundraising begins with our japa. Did you understand? Simply if we sit nicely and chant, Krishna will make arrangements to feel us as an instrument, and then Lakshmi will come automatically. This is my personal experience also. We have all done so many projects, but we have never spent sleepless nights thinking where the Lakshmi will come from. Of course, we do some attempts. Sometimes we meet this person, sometimes we meet that person. But we know it in our hearts that we are not trying hard enough. The biggest proof is we purchasing the temple land. We didn't go to anybody. We just talked with our own devotees. Thoda de do, thoda dilwa do, like that. You see other organizations who have to raise funds to do something, how much hard they are working, pa. What we did, we continued our preaching, we continued our chanting, we tried to expand through absorption. Expansion comes through absorption. So many people miss this. They think expansion comes by trying out various things. So therefore they are not able to expand. If ISKCON and the devotees of ISKCON can kindly remain absorbed in chanting Hare Krishna and reading Srila Prabhupada's books. I was reading a very nice quote. Can I share that quote with you? Read my books daily, chant 16 rounds, and worship Lord Chaitanya. If you do this, Maya will never touch you. 3 things. What are the 3 things? Read my books, chant 16 rounds, and worship Lord Chaitanya. If you do this, Maya will never touch you. So this is the way to expand. Srila Prabhupada was asked that, my dear Srila Prabhupada, how you are able to expand so much in just 12 years time? How you have made 108 temples? It is inconceivable. Srila Prabhupada answered by showing his bead bag. He said that I have chanted and Krishna has provided. So taking praman from the statements of Srila Prabhupada and taking praman from the purports where he has told that Lakshmi comes to serve Krishna, Lakshmi comes to serve Madhava. You become a nice devotee of Madhava, Lakshmi will come and everything which is needed will be provided. Prabhupada says, if any sincere person goes in any part of the world and tries to open a center, then Krishna will send him all the help. Of course, that does not mean that this sincere person is lying down lazily whole day. That means he is not sincere. So he can try. But how can he try? From 40 rupees to 400 crores, who can try? Nobody can try. It happened, no? 12 years, 40 rupees to 400 crores, 4,000 crores rather. Who can try like this? It's inconceivable. So just we have to become absorbed and thus we have to try a little bit. See, ISKCON devotees, the fundraisers sitting here should not get offended. ISKCON devotees trying to do fundraising is the sparrow trying to dry the ocean. Kabhi hoga? Sparrow has decided I'll put the water of the ocean in my beak and I will dry the ocean. It never happens. Krishna sends Garuda and then inconceivable things happen. It's all by the power of mercy, by the power of grace. Whatever properties ISKCON has, whatever Lakshmi ISKCON has, whatever devotees ISKCON has, whatever assets ISKCON has, it is all simply grace of Krishna. And to receive that grace, we have to become more absorbed. Then the grace will flow. Then we cannot imagine what all things will come. Somebody was telling me that in some part of India, one person came and gave 55 acres of land to ISKCON. What that person did to achieve 55 acres? He just continued his japa nicely and maintained some nice relationships. So it is simply by the grace of Krishna. That is my understanding. However, it also means that one has to try whatever is needed, but our best is not good enough. This realization should be there. That whatever best efforts we put is not good enough. Ultimately, it is the grace of Krishna. And we need to feel dependent on this mercy of Krishna. We need to feel dependent on this mercy of superiors. And to get that mercy and grace, we have to become more absorbed and intensified in our devotional practice. Then only success will come. Does this answer your question, bro? Hare Krishna. Now, please share some points because time is there. You have to stop me when time is up.
Thank you for the amazing class, Prji.
You have to give him the mic if possible.
Thank you for the amazing class, Prji. I like the point, if one is feeling a sense of advancement in his knowledge or anything like that, so it should be used in the service of God.
Yes.
So that point actually, it's really amazing. So another point is that one should have a constant meditation that whatever I have got, it's by the mercy of the Lord, and it should exclusively use for the service of the Lord.
Yes.
Yeah, that should be the meditation. Thank you so much.
Yes. In fact, Srila Prabhupada highlights this in few purports, that even if 1 cent, suppose if somebody is getting Lakshmi, even if 1 cent is used, if it is not wholly and solely used in the service of Krishna, even if 1 cent is used, it will lead to destruction. That is the principle of Yukta Vairagya. Yukta Vairagya doesn't mean 99% or 98% or Yukta Vairagya means 100%. Whatever you got, wholly and solely should be used in Krishna's service. See, one of the major reasons why people, even devotees, have so much struggles in their life is because devotees have money. And devotees are finding it difficult to use wholly and solely, use their money in Krishna's service. And that is why so many miseries. Miseries related to the money, miseries related to keeping the money safe, miseries related to other people wanting to take away the money, miseries related to government. You know, how many people do that? So many tax investments, no? Just to save little tax. That's a misery only. So all the miseries, you just carefully sit and one day contemplate that all the miseries which we have in our life, it is due to the fact that we are not trying to use the resources which has come to us by the grace of Krishna wholly and solely in the service of Krishna. Now what does wholly and solely mean? Wholly and solely does not mean that, okay, I got my salary, I brought it and I handed it over to somebody in temple. That does not mean wholly and solely. Wholly and solely means I take guidance how to use it in Krishna's service at least up to 50%. And I take guidance how to invest it for future requirements 25%. And I take guidance how to lead a Brahminical lifestyle and meet my both ends by using 25%. In this way, I don't use that Lakshmi for sense gratification. Rather, I use it for upliftment of my consciousness and by cultivating detachment, by using it in Krishna's service. Then there will be no misery. But if it becomes like 99% for my wife and 1% for Krishna, then it is a source of too much misery. That's why Prabhupada uses wholly and solely concept. If you can give 100%, that is the best. Then you will be at the platform of Narad Muni. Always happy. Have you ever seen that Narad Muni went short of anything in life? So this is the understanding. Whatever we have should be wholly and solely used in Krishna. If we are not at that platform, then we should aspire to come at that platform.
One more point I like most, like you mentioned that only by the touch of bhakti everything becomes potent. So you gave an example of Adani. So just because he is connected to his God, so his service has become potent.
He has become famous also. How much charity Adani had done earlier? Tell me, anybody knows? Kisi ko nahi malum. But one he did, he came to Mahakumbh and he got connected with ISKCON and such nice prasadam is being served. Everybody is appreciating. Material benefit also he got. Tax benefit also he got. And over and above, 50-60 lakh people will get prasadam. transcendental Krishna Prasadam. Isn't that something very great? Some great Sukriti he has created for himself. Don't be astonished if you go back home, back to Godhead, you see Adani also there. Adani can ask you, I fed 60 lakh people, what you did? I also distributed some 6,000 books. ठीक है, we are all together. So yeah, that's how it works. Because the mercy of the Lord is causeless. Lord does not see whom to give mercy, why to give. He is independent. He has seen Adani doing this, and because he is connected with devotees, so he is now into the family of Krishna. Because our devotees are offering bhoga every day and he is serving, so he is somehow, friend of a friend is also a friend. So he has become a friend of ISKCON. So now he is also ISKCON. He does not realize this. Yes, thank you.
Thank you for such an amazing and descriptive class about how to utilize everything in the service of the Lord and how to depend on the Lord and intensify the rangas of bhakti. So this point that just by sincerely chanting 16 rounds and intensifying and being absorbed in the sadhana, in the rangas of bhakti, so everything will manifest. So it's a very, very important point because actually we don't urge to feel or feel to chant attentively, every single day. So if we get this, at least some theoretical understanding also, at least in the starting, that just by chanting attentively, if we just sit patiently and chant and try to focus on as whatever is best from our side and pray to Krishna, then everything will manifest. Whatever spiritual desires we have, everything will manifest. Or the material level, but we don't want, but still spiritual desires are actually Krishna will manifest that. So it's a very, very important point.
Very nice. Simply by attentively chanting 16 rounds, everything will manifest. This faith all devotees should have.
Hare Krishna. I would like to thank Prji for this such an amazing class. So Prji already had some engagement, but Prji cancelled that class just to give us all of us such association. We are very fortunate, as Prji was telling, he used to stay here only, and whatever we have learned, little bit things we have learned from him only. And now due to other engagements, he is staying there in Kannamangala. So we'll all chant one time Hare Krishna Mahamantra for Prji.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So one more thing, if you remember, last week we announced we had made some keychains, but that time it was not sufficient in stock, and these keychains were related to the book distribution. And now we are very, very fortunate. So we have Whitefield's top book distributor here.
Whitefield top book distributors are sitting here.
On an individual level, Prji is the one from whom we learned everything, whatever we learned on the street. So now is the amazing opportunity of getting those keychains. So one by one you can come and collect, and also after that we have some very important announcement which Nikhil Prabhu will make. So all be seated after that. Yeah. One by one maybe devotees can come and collect keychains.